So there's a lot of things that are unjust in the system. And if you don't look at it from a holistic perspective, of course, your solutions are not going to be effective in the long term and just create more problems. So of course, just like this is, this model, that's what I'm saying, it's a case study because this repeats itself and re-repeats itself. So here you got the robber baron. It can be steel, this is banking, um, however they made their money. With the Mars family, it's been after the robber barons, um, they made their money from candy. Well, obesity and sugar addiction, that's creating a whole bunch of problems. So again, but you have the same dynamics going here. Okay, so predatory businesses, exploitative businesses, how do they ease their conscience? With a foundation that promotes arts, humanities, and education. Go on to the Mellon Foundation. I mean, they are promoting everything woke under the sun. So their assets, the endowment is about 8 million in assets, 300 million they give to programs each year. So see, pushing, they're funding the propaganda of the woke. Yeah, they're giving money the same amount. Well, okay, not the same amount of money because the 300 million was 30 years for the election campaign. So, but they're giving money saying, please fix the problems that my nonprofit is creating in society. You know, like wasted money, wasted money. And then the melons, you Google that, the charities, they're all over the place. I mean, and some of them are 100, 150, 200, 300K. But there's a whole slew of them. So I think, let's see, there was Bank of New York Mellon. Okay, that was a big one. Bank of New York Mellon Corp Foundation that had 41.5 million in assets. So all of these foundations are providing jobs to seat warmers. Really, it's just all going in to pay for the people who work in these foundations. I would say, like, ballpark figure, we're talking 80% easy is just to for the people to work in these places, sit at a desk. And some of the CEOs, it's like 3 million, 2 million, $1 million is their salary. It is an entire scam. See, if all of this money was used towards producing real jobs, the jobs that contributed to our economy and to our society in a positive way, then we wouldn't have the $30 trillion, the 36 trillion in debt, and all of these, indeed social problems, no end that we cannot finance um, any way you cut it. So, focus on producing, giving people decent jobs, that are producing positive outcomes for the country. And a lot of them will get off all the goddamn drugs themselves. It's, the demoralization of the rural areas. They're just get people working and productive, and a lot of the social fallout will dissipate. If not, I mean, well, miraculously disappear. Nothing's going to miraculously disappear, but at least we can head towards a trend of downward instead of skyrocketing. Um, so then Bunny Mellon, she's got her foundation there with her contribution because piece of work, a fascist piece of work that she was. she promoted, liberal causes, um, which is not so, it's not uncommon, this paradox, because of course they're easing their conscience of the how selfish and narcissistic and backstabbing they've been in their lives with, charity work. And this has been shown. I mean, the development community has recognized this for a very long time, that this, you know, Catholic, very Catholic tradition of going stab them in the back all day long, all week long, and then the Sunday you show up at church and you put a big wad of money in the basket. So everybody in the community will say, oh, look how generous he is. Look how nice or she. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book. It's just the wads of money get bigger and bigger, and the crimes get badder and badder. Um, so yeah, and so one of my favorite with Bunny Mellon is there was, I think it was almost $100,000 that of her donations that went to pay for John Edwards' mistress. Yeah, and that when that came out, that his campaign went and disappeared. Yeah, so guys, that's not a good idea to take your mistress along with you on your campaign trail. Somebody might find out. So, then, yeah, Tim Mellon, the federal election campaigns, 300 million he's donated. So then we have Catherine Conover, who is his sister. Because Bunny Mellon was their stepmother. Their biological mother died. I think Tim was around 9 or so, so he would have remembered more his mother than Catherine. I think Catherine was still a bit of a toddler. And Tim Mellon, I mean, I love it in his memoirs. It starts out like, my sister didn't talk to me for the first 5 years of my life, and I think that was maybe good. Something like that. It was like, okay, there's definitely a contentious relationship between his only sibling. Um, so obviously they're not too friendly. But this is par for the course. I mean, this is with the upper crust, it's backstabbing witchery all the way. I mean, that's, it is what it is. At least that's what I agree with Tucker Carlson. It's like, yeah, my mother hates me. She hates me. Doesn't want anything to do with me. She doesn't want anything to do with me. I mean, with my mom, it was worse than that. Actively want to destroy your father and her children. So just petty jealousies. But that is the world of the upper crust, and I mean, when people start all of this human rights stuff, I'm like, are you people freaking kidding me? Like, start in your homes first, particularly Ethel Kennedy. What a piece of work. And her children are just following in her footsteps. So yeah, so there's Catherine Conover. She has this island press center for resource economics. I mean, you'd think she would read my mail and my emails to her if she's interested in economics. No, just throw some more money at a PhD and think that they're gonna save the world. So let's see, she's donated about $1 million to the Democrats. So see, her brother is donating 300 million to Republicans, while she's donating $1 million to Democrats. Now her husband was Senator John Warner. Now he was the gold digger. He got, I mean, this is the typical, when he got, 4 kids she gave him, or three, maybe, 3 children. And he gets a, I forget, it was like the $5 million house when they divorce. Well, why is he getting something from her assets? Those were her assets. I mean, he didn't contribute to any of that. I mean, that's a typical of how, where you're seeing it on the flip side of the men who are marrying for money and ending up with stuff that they're not entitled to. And he was, I mean, John Warner the fourth kind of puts his father on a pedestal, but listening to that, I'm like, oh yeah, your father was a real, um, social climber and brown noser. And part of the problems what we got in Washington today was because of Senator Warner. And Virginia, ask people that have been through Virginia courts. That's amongst the worst. Arlington, Virginia, I did a court watch there. And there's Judge Newman of Middleburg, who's married to Sheila Johnson. She's the first Black billionaire, and the female billionaire in the United States, and she lives in Middleburg. I mean, and her Judge Newman handled her divorce. Then he married her. Total conflict of interest. Of course, get her all the money because then he gets it. And they're sitting out, oh my God, Middleburg has become a total Loire Valley. And, it's like, you guys, we're all heading towards the guillotine. This was done under the Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. And you guys are pulling the same crap. So, oh, the heat. My my blood pressure keeps going out. So, um, then we've got, okay, again, the Mars family. Uh, Candy. I love it. They said, where was this? They're going to give dedicate $1 billion investments into the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm like, excuse me, you're promoting candy, you're selling candy around the world, and you're contributing to the increasing, obesity and sugar consumption that's going on out there. Um, like, and you're claiming to be sustainable and all of this, woke stuff. Like, please. So, and then Bobby Kennedy. I mean, I know, I'm sure he's getting all sorts of bureaucratic bullshit in the HHS. And he would just give me a voice and listen to me. God, his campaigners, his little groupies. Oh, and his wife. Piece of work. Well, HHS, I can promise you, HHS is afraid of the protective mothers. So you get us in there and you give us a voice. I promise you, we're going to get rid of those goddamn little bureaucrats in that department and clean it up. And let's get HHS, get this country healthy again. But this is going to be more than just getting artificial dyes out of our food. This has to be a huge campaign of, well, first, Cornelia, you shut the frick up about your stupid vegan living with celebrity chefs and get out of the picture. I mean, that girl should be ashamed of herself and she should be sent to next to Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, I'm always like, I'm like, wait a second, you're sticking Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? What about all of these other socialites and sugar babies who are promoting this? And madams who've been promoting this shit for generations. Nothing for them? So, anyway, look, total share of US population with diabetes. It's been increasing, increasing, increasing. Per capita U.S. healthcare expenditures. What? I mean, sustainability? How is this sustainable? It's not. Um, you know, just donate, donate, donate for people who can't pay their medical bills. I mean, it's a cycle of insanity. So let's see, Mars revenue of 50 billion. Then Mars HUK, the headquarter foundation is 42 million in assets. Mars Wrigley Foundation, 40 million, another 40 million in assets. And then there's a whole slew of other, because same with the Mellon family. You Google that, and there's a whole bunch of different, different members of the family who have their foundation. As I say, some of it is peanuts, 100, 300, 400, 500,000 dollars here and there, which of course, I mean, even pennies add up to a dollar eventually. Um, so this is what I was just like, wow, okay, look, you guys, like, stupid is as stupid does. Okay. So I saw somewhere, I said, oh, Pamela Mars, the Mars sisters are alumni of Foxcroft. I hadn't known that. So that was about 2020. And so I contacted Pam Mars, sent her a letter, an email, saying, here I have my Global Expats project. This is, promoting socioeconomic development, sustainable. I mean, basically, it's all the sustainable development goals. There's a link there to the slides, Taking Back America for the People. So I'm like, I mean, the platforms, the website, the networking website for homemakers and trailing spouses, these platforms are costing about $100 million for the company to put the thing together. Usually you'll start with rounds of 20, 30 million, and then it'll increase, but more or less you're looking at a 100 million investment to get things started and up and running, and being able to be competitive with everything else, with the other platforms. I mean, the platforms now, you had a lot when I started in 2006. I mean, you had a lot of platforms that were being produced. MySpace, for example, and that disappeared. So a lot have. So now you're kind of left with the big wigs, and not so many people are trying to penetrate the market against Facebook or LinkedIn or even Twitter. I mean, you've got the Truth Social, but that was just because Trump had the money. See, Trump, give me for the money for that. Give me Truth Social, and I mean, there's things that I'd change on that one, but because I've been looking at the software for 20 years. And I know exactly, I know all the best. No, this is better, that's better. Oh God, where'd you get this archaic bullshit? I mean, from the user side, I know all sorts of stuff about the websites. I just can't, I keep on telling people, just if I want to run a hotel, I don't need to know how to construct one. Need to know how to manage one. So as I said, Mars promises $1 billion to invest in SDGs. So I go to Pam Mars and I'm like, okay, here's my Global Expat project. I get a letter back saying, we have already, given our charitable donations for the year. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, okay. Well, another proof that what you need is to teach everybody how to read. Because I wasn't asking you for a donation. I was offering you an investment that would make a lot of money. You could get, I'm not saying shut down the fabricas, the factories that are making all of this candy, but start divesting into other companies and try and promote, healthy I mean, healthy candy. Yeah, I mean, all of us, particularly, I mean, me with chocolate, and I love chocolate. It's just stop with so much sugar in there, and I like dark chocolate. So try and, as I say, you're not gonna like radically change from one day to another in terms of what you're producing. You can't do that. That would be disastrous for your company. But you can start divesting and coming up with, you know, different chocolate products that don't have so much sugar, or, you know, into different areas. Healthy food, you know, start instead of just cocoa products. Well, we're going to, you know, this or that. There's all sorts of things that they can do to, you know, divest into companies that will be promoting good things for economies and for societies instead of destructive ones. Because this is a huge problem, huge. And this, I've got that, and I think it's in the next slide, where the your sugar consumption in the past like 500 years, I mean, it's a huge problem. There's a really good book, Sugar Blues. This was, is that Buckley, William Buckley? I think it was a long time ago. It was like the 40s or 50s, but very good. I mean, he blames everything. He blames even the fall of the Roman Empire on sugar consumption, but makes some very, very good points. So then I turn around. I've been told, no, no, we're not interested in donating. And then I turn around and I see an announcement from Foxcroft saying that the Mars sisters have just donated 22 million to the STEM, the science, technology, and whatever wing at Foxcroft for these girls. And I'm like, would you teach them how to read and give them some moral compass and some basic decency instead of filling their heads that they're going to be these great scientists? And by the way, the wing is 65 million, and 22 million is just a donation from the Mars. And this, let's see, what was it? The Standard Oil heiress, I think it was maybe 10 years back or less, 40 million donation. Uh, that's the Ruth Bedford, I think it was. And you have, oh, you can Google it. There's several other. And then, of course, I mean, there's the Bruce Currier Library. That was when the Bruce Currier, that's from the Mellon family. They died. I forget, it was an accident, the parents. That was in Memorial. Then there's the Firestone Memorial. One of the, she also died. I forget the exact reasons for that. So, you know, I mean, yeah, Fox a lot of donations over the years from wealthy women. Well, you know, excuse me, our public education system is in shambles. It is a mess. And our private education system is no better. They're all gone woke.